Welcome to the 2023 Air Force Installation and Mission Support Center Innovation Rodeo, where military and civilian members from across the AFIMSC community can compete to win part of $1 million in funding and resources to pursue innovative ideas that address critical installation and mission support challenges. This year's theme is Mission-Focused Innovation.
Good day, Air Force Innovators, and welcome to Air Force IMSC's Innovation Rodeo 2023. Really excited that you're all here, and really sorry that I'm not on stage in person speaking to you directly. You all that have been selected to join this Innovation Rodeo in person represent hundreds and thousands of airmen across the formation like you who are bringing important innovation to bear for the force. So thanks for doing that. Proud that you're here. For 5 years, we've been bringing in great airmen like you all to bring great ideas forward. We've invested $17 million to date and then benefited from another $80 million in other government and venture capital fund to help us scale your great ideas. And that's what this is all about, right? Get your great ideas beyond your installation and across the formation. So proud of the work you're doing, thankful for the work you're doing. I look forward to a wonderful few days of Innovation Rodeo. Thanks for taking the time to be here, and more importantly, thanks for what you do for our Air Force.
The judges tasked with finding AFIMSC's next great ideas are Colonel Kelly Sams, the Vice Commander of the Air Force Installation and Mission Support Center; Brigadier General Lance French, the Commander of the Air Force Installation Contracting Center; and Chief Master Sergeant Edward Fitzgerald, Air Force Civil Engineering Center's Senior Enlisted Leader. Hosting the 2023 Innovation Rodeo is AFIMSC's Chief Innovation Officer, J.D. Purdy.
Hi, my name is Second Lieutenant Kiara Nuevo from McGuire Air Force Base, and the innovation I'll be pitching is Rhino.
Hi everyone. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. How you guys doing? We're good. How about you? Doing good. Good. It's an 1800. I'll give you guys a second to look at that. Okay.
So what I just gave you, imagine an A1C fresh out of tech school getting that from their supervisor, and their supervisor going, okay, go inspect that staircase truck right now. There's some gaps here. Let's talk about them. So, a bunch of things to look at, a bunch of check boxes. That A1C might have accidentally checked the wrong one. And when the inspection is done, this paper just goes into some kind of filing cabinet, a folder, and then what? That supervisor won't be able to see past inspections on that same staircase truck, and their leadership wouldn't be able to make an impact assessment on the entirety of their fleet with this paper alone. So, how do we mitigate these gaps? I'm Second Lieutenant Kiara Nuevo, and this is Rhino. Rhino is a vehicle management and inspection app and database that will get rid of the manual pen and paper way to inspect all government vehicles, whether it's a staircase truck, a baggage conveyor, a forklift, you name it. Right now, the way we inspect government vehicles, it's outdated. Human error is inevitable, and there's a lack of accountability and quantifiable data with just this paper. So, what's the solution? Rhino. It's modern, it's digital, it makes it easy to inspect, and it'll make it hard for the user to miss any part of an inspection, and it'll make it hard for them to pencil whip inspection. But most importantly, this database keeps track of all the inspection forms, all in the palm of your hand, which will give you real-time reports, real-time data trends, real-time analysis right there. AMC identified Joint Base McGuire-Dix Lakehurst, New Jersey as the first test base, and the Aerial Port Squadron utilized Rhino August of 2021. In October of 2022, General Minahan came down for a base visit, and we were fortunate enough to showcase Rhino to him. We showed him what it was, how we execute, and how much it helped vehicle inspection overall for the port. And this year, the port and the LRS at McGuire fully utilize Rhino for their respective units. And the momentum that Rhino has now wouldn't be possible without the teams and the test locations that we were able to test it at, because these locations prove that Rhino is here and Rhino works. Rhino is approved under a phase 3 small business contract, and there's an authority to operate en route right now. So with that, I'm asking for $500,000 for Rhino to be implemented to 50 units, and each unit would receive 2 tablets. The return on investment will be reallocating the 44,000 man hours used a year to inspect vehicles manually, and leveraging Rhino, something that already works, proven to work, to all these units. Now, Rhino isn't just applicable to the port. It can be at an AMS, LRS, security forces. Any unit with any vehicle, anytime, anywhere can use Rhino. Most importantly, senior leaders, we would like them to know that this is something they can utilize for their units, for their airmen, for their mission. So now, going back, that A1C I talked about like 3 minutes ago. Imagine that same A1C, but instead of using this piece of paper to inspect, they're using Rhino. It's easy, it's at the palm of their hand, it's intuitive to them and their generation. The A1C supervisor being able to know what vehicle was inspected, how it was inspected, who inspected it. And lastly, their leadership. Leaders like you would be able to assess what is mission capable throughout your entire fleet, all at the palm of your hands. Now, take a look at this one last time, and just know that this piece of paper right here, it's not the future. Questions?
That was great. Excuse me. I'll start with the questions first, LT. You mentioned a tablet. Can you describe the tablet a bit more of what it is? And you mentioned 2 per base per unit. Could you expand on that?
Yes, ma'am. So the tablets are an Android tablet, because Rhino can only be utilized in Android as of now. And it's a standard tablet. You would just download Rhino on there, and you'll be able to inspect right then and there with that tablet. And for 50 units, 1 unit would receive 2 tablets for the entirety of their fleet, and it's up to them to decide how they would like to inspect.
Okay, thank you.
So we've been filling out 1800s for decades, or some form of it. Why are you the one to bring this forward?
Sir, I think it's about time. The way that technology is now, it's awesome and we can do so much with it. The fact that we can utilize this for our airmen and the younger generation, because a lot of our airmen nowadays are young and they've grown up on the era of technology. Utilizing something like this for them will make things easier and will help out on all levels of leadership.
Thank you. Great presentation. I'm wondering about the tablets as well. Will those tablets be able to be used for anything else besides replacing 1800s? Are they multifunctional tablets?
It would be multifunctional, sir, yes.
Okay, thank you.
I have one more question. As we are all senior leaders in the Air Force, we travel about and we have the opportunity to use a You Drive It car at some of the bases we go to for TDY. There is a 1800 in those vehicles. How would that, it's a very technical question, but how would you go about ensuring that me as the user now getting this vehicle am running through a checklist, if you will?
So moving back to this slide back here, the update and regulation, it wouldn't just start as the user, it would be whoever's inspecting that vehicle first, making sure it's good to go, and ultimately getting rid of that 1800 in that vehicle because it's already good, it's been inspected, it's good for the user to utilize. So then they would use Rhino once that vehicle is back to them to utilize once more, or inspect again once more.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
No, ma'am.
All right, great job.
Thank
That
you.
was awesome. Thank you.
All right, judges, tell me a little bit what you thought about Rhino. First of all, I'm not sure LT would want me sharing this, but she hasn't even been to tech school yet. Talk about impressive, right? So
Very
changing
impressive.
the face of the Air Force within such a short period of time in the Air Force. So tell me a little bit of what you thought. Chief, what do you think?
It was an outstanding presentation. I really like the ability to access trends, vehicle inspection trends, maybe use that to tie into predictive maintenance requirements. There's a lot of potential there.
I use the exact same words, predictive maintenance. Love it. Colonel Sams.
I thought the lieutenant did a great job. I'm thinking back to when I was a lieutenant for a year. I was still trying to figure out acronyms my first year on active duty. Impressive in her her ability to see a problem, bring it forward, and work with her leadership all the way up to the MAGCOM commander to get support for this idea. I think it's pretty amazing.
Awesome. General, how about you?
Yeah, echo what Colonel Sam said, just excellent presentation from a first-year lieutenant. And to summarize what she said, it's about time. Filling out paper forms in 2023, it's time.
Awesome. Thanks so much. All right, Colonel Sams, back over to you to call out the next presenter.
My name is Tech Sergeant Dustin Spooner. I work at JBSA Lackland. My innovation is the A6 band. May 19th, 2010, about 1 o'clock in the morning, Bagram Air Base, Afghanistan. I was posted as Romeo 2, doing a normal fence line check with my Alpha, when all of a sudden we heard shots ring out from the distance. Then we heard more. I knew something was wrong. I looked at my Alpha, and I screamed, "We need to get to the Humvee now." I started running back to the Humvee, and we heard shots all around. I couldn't tell where they were coming from. Were they coming behind me, to the left, to the right, front? I got to the Humvee, and I heard one more shot. It sounded way closer. I scanned the horizon, looking for the shooter, see where it had come from. That's when I noticed the driver's side windshield had actually shattered. The Humvee's up armor did its job, stopped the bullet, but I knew I had to get out of there. I made sure my Alpha was in the vehicle, and I drove as fast as I could to a secure location. I then had to figure out what was going on and get my wits about me. But a situation like that is a situation our airmen can still be in today. I'm Tech Sergeant Dustin Spooner, and I believe the solution is ACE Expand to mitigate those risks. ACE Expand is a drone with improved ISR intelligence, reconnaissance, and surveillance technology that can actually help these guys in real-world, real-time situations. It's designed for the AFRIGEN and ACE deployment environment, specifically for these multi-capable airmen. But it can also be used CONUS. I can use it as a defender. If I put that out there, I don't have to drive 5 miles over the speed limit to make it to the location as fast as I can when I can put that up and have something to eyes on right away. Now you might wonder, why do we need another drone? There's a ton out there. The current way we're deploying is as multi-capable airmen. Right now it's specialty to go and get one of those drone classes and make sure that you're good to fly it. With this, I need to make sure it's automated. I am able to put it up and I'm able to hand it off to someone and say, this is what you need to do, fly it for me. I just need you to press a button and it goes. We've been getting after this with some small business contracts, typically using a phase 1 or a phase 2. Right now we're working on electric vertical takeoff and landing, as well as catching fires out in the bases in California, because it does catch on fire. So that's the demand, that's what we need. Right? But there are problems that we currently have right now that I believe that we could get to the solution. The problem is the drones we have take forever to set up. 30 minutes, that's too long if I'm in a firefight. It also takes up a lot of space. Multiple Pelican cases that are 5 feet long in an aircraft, that's not going to work. The ACE Expand can fit in this backpack right here. Now you might wonder, how can we get a drone in that backpack? I can take off the tail, and I have telescopic wings. They fold in, fold out. I can put it together in 2 minutes and be in the air, ready to fight. Other drones are right now, we have small drones, we have large drones. That's two different things working together. But they don't work together, right? I have to go from one controller to another. With this, it's one controller. That's all I need. So we talked about this and how we're getting after solutions, but this is the team that's helping me do it. The Defender Spark team has been absolutely outstanding with it. I've been working with Beale out in California and Fairchild as well. AFSOC's helping us out, and so is ACC. But I really want to get in good with the Defense Innovation Unit out there so I can get them on the blue list, right? That's the main focus. I want that help. But that's the team now, and I would love for you to be a part of the team. But what do I need from you guys? I need $750,000 to buy 10 of these ACE Expands to get them into the hands of the Security Forces Contingency Response Groups and the weapons and tactics personnel. I want to prove the concept, make sure it works. I also need some help with MAGCOM Champion to get the authority to operate. And that's where I could get your help as well. I need the authority to operate, and I need to get introduced to DIU. Those people are holding the key to make sure that this doesn't be an Air Force solution, but a DoD solution. If I would have had this ACE Expand in Afghanistan, I would have made better decisions for myself and my troops. I would have known what was coming. I would have turned a terrifying situation into a tactical win. Thank you.
Very good.
Any questions?
Chief, you want to go with the first?
Yeah, excellent presentation. Pretty convincing. I got to ask though, where is this equipment manufactured?
It's manufactured all in America. It's all NDAA, all the chips, everything is manufactured in America, typically St. Louis.
And then one more question. If this was adopted by the Air Force, in your opinion, who should be the Office of Primary Responsibility for Sustainment and oversight of all facets of it?
Absolutely. So right now, it's AFIMSC is running all SUAS, and I believe that they should keep with that because they can use this in aspects I couldn't even think of.
Thank you.
So Sergeant Spooner, I'm Airman French, new to your unit. How fast can you get me up to speed to fly one of these?
I could probably get you ready to go in about 30 minutes, sir. As a multi-capable airman, one of the best parts is, as a defender, I could throw it up for you, and I could say, hey, here's ATAC, or here's TAC, wind TAC, whatever we're using, and go press it here. I need it to follow me. The best part is I could put it in BDOC, and it could be used 73 kilometers away. I don't even have to be right next to it.
How many different displays can it show on?
Right now, it could show on a 2, so I could have it on the ground with me, and then I could have it in the JDOC or BDOC or whatever we're using now.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
What's the flight time for the battery?
Absolutely. So the flight time right now is 2.5 hours, which supersedes what the smaller drones are doing, and it's helping get there further for the larger drones. So there is no security gaps if we decided to put a bigger drone up there as well.
Okay, and what's the recharge time?
The recharge is it lands, I plug it in, I swap out the batteries, I put it back up. Or I can land it, throw a second one up, and then that one could charge for 2 hours, which means it's a continuous rotation.
Okay.
If you do have multiple drones up, can they send images to other drones?
Absolutely. You can use this in you can use all of these at one time. So the BDOC would receive all of those feeds, and they can monitor as needed based off of the TAC device.
Great.
Any other questions, Chief?
No, ma'am. Well done. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Great job.
Judges, I don't know about you, but I love Sergeant Spooner's energy. And I also love how he called out the fact and acknowledged there's a lot of SUAS, a lot of drone work going on as part of his presentation, just gave that up front to us. What did you guys think? Chief?
I think I'm still concerned about the sustainment trail. The ATOs are tough to get. Sustainment and OPR-ship is vital to keeping it online, though.
Awesome.
If we couldn't get that squared away, it'd be a tough thing to get in online.
Awesome. Thanks, Chief. Colonel Sams?
I think Sergeant Spooner is great. I've had the opportunity to meet him before. I think the sustainment is a concern, but not overly concerning for me. Concern maybe about the protecting the feed that it comes in. I think it's great. The backpack's quite impressive. I mean, to get something out and in the air super quickly with the wing he showed us was really impressive.
A little dramatic.
It was like a sword.
Awesome. Thanks.
Yeah, I loved his energy. He knows the stuff. He knows the technical part of it. As a contracting guy, I'd want to ensure this is the only solution out there, make sure there's not other options for us. But it's a great presentation.
Yep, I loved his ask and tie back to DIU. They're definitely the team to help us keep moving it forward. So thanks so much, judges.
Hello, everyone. I'm Tech Sergeant Darren Son. I work over at the Air Force Security Forces Center, Joint Base San Antonio, Lackland. My innovation is the tactical camera system.
Oh boy.
Good afternoon. Do you guys have kids who may be afraid of the dark? Do you remember a time when you were a child and maybe you were afraid of the dark? Or maybe you still are? That fear is something that our first responders feel anytime they respond to a situation where they may not have all the information that is needed. That information may be the difference between life or death. That all changes today. I'm Tech Sergeant Darren Son, and this is the tactical camera system. The tactical camera system is an omnidirectional camera ball that is capable of being utilized in various environments throughout security forces, not just security forces either. For instance, during agile combat deployment missions, you're meant to travel light and you're meant to travel fast, which means you wouldn't be able to bring all the equipment that you normally would. With this camera system, I can set it up on a tripod, set it on a base perimeter fence, and not only do I have eyes, but I also have ears, and it has the capability to do motion detection. For home station, barricaded subjects, they're becoming more and more frequent throughout the Air Force, not just the Air Force, the DoD. I could throw this ball inside of a room with a barricaded subject without having to send my troops in there to potentially get harmed. I can throw this camera in there, I have eyes and I have ears, and now I can communicate with the individual that's inside of the room to try to get them to come out. How do I know people want this? It's already made. That's the easy part. It's already made. I don't have to go out and do any extra research to try to develop the product. It's simply adding modifications to it. We've already received $2.5 million in government contracting, and we've already been filling them out to Air Force Special Operations Command troops and Air Force Global Strike Command troops. So there's a need for it. The biggest problem with security forces right now is I do not have any type of rapidly deployable camera system. There's no system out there. We're given Best Buy cameras, not Polaroids, Polaroid type cameras. They don't work in tactical situations. The other issue that I have is we're still using throw phones. Throw phones are antiquated technology. They're big, they're bulky, and they can cost upwards of $250,000. My solution not only take care of the camera situation, but now I can use this as a throw phone and have video capabilities. So it catches all those issues and it solves all those issues in one thing. As the action officer for Concepts and Innovations, my main goal is to ensure that I get products like this out to my guys in Security Forces Enterprise so that they can better complete their jobs and come home to their families at the end of the night. We're not only working with security forces, we're not only working with the Air Force either. We already have these in use with Marine Special Operations Command and the FBI's hostage rescue teams. My ask from you today is for $400,000 so that I can purchase 80 units to field across the entirety of the Air Force. From there, I will receive feedback from whoever is using them, and that's when I will start to make those software and hardware modifications or even updates. Please help me support the first responders who have to respond to life or death situations so that they no longer have to respond in the dark. Thank you.
Great job. Great job.
Yeah, I have two questions. First, you mentioned throwable, but could you drop it from a drone or from a helicopter if needed? And the second part, any thought of making it mobile? I'm thinking like Star Wars BB-8, where it can roll around.
Yes, sir. Thank you. That's a good question. So that is actually one of the things that we're trying to develop is the ability to drop from the drones. You can drop them. They're very durable. And the second part is, yes, we are trying to develop something like the BB-8 drone, the Sphero drone. What we want to do is connect it to the TAC system, which you guys see in front of you. And that way we can have one person who's controlling it, and then the second person is able to have eyes on what's ever going on.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
So this is already being, is it this that is already being fielded widely, or is it something different? Can you help me understand that a little bit better?
Thank you, ma'am. Good question. So yes, this specific camera system is the one that is being fielded right now. There's other systems like it. The other camera system, instead of a built-in Wi-Fi module, it uses 4G LTE, which means that it just extends the range as far as where you can use it.
Okay. You want to get feedback from fielding it. Should you get it out in the field into 80 camera kits? You have a day job, right? So how are you going to balance that? And to Chief's question of the last project, who's going to oversee that and then take care of it going forward? Should it expand across the Department of the Air Force and beyond?
So the units themselves will maintain the cameras.
Okay.
I don't think we're too worried about that. As far as who's going to maintain the software updates, the hardware updates, we have some groups within our Security Forces Center that are more than willing to do it. So all the groundwork is laid already. It's just a matter of being able to purchase the cameras and get them out to the units.
Gotcha.
Thank you.
Thank you. Chief?
Well done. First question is, where is it manufactured?
So it's manufactured here in the United States. It is NDAA certified and qualified.
Okay, excellent. And then I got to ask, is it intrinsically safe? So if civil engineers want to use this to maybe lower down into a manhole, could they do that?
Absolutely, sir. And that's another capability. I can attach a tether and lower it and still have 360 camera, and then I can raise it and it's just fine.
Awesome, thank you.
How long can it operate on a single charge?
On a single charge, it's 3.5 hours, and it's up to 2.5 hours to charge up to 80%.
Okay.
How high have you dropped it from?
12 feet.
Okay. I mean, it's pretty ruggedized. It's pretty sturdy, like a lacrosse ball.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Is the signal jammable? Do you know?
So the signal is not jammable. It's encrypted on both ends. It exceeds the DoD standards.
Okay.
Awesome. Any other questions?
No, ma'am.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Thanks.
Thank
Great
you.
job.
Thank you.
Well done.
Great job.
Wow, what a great job doing answering your questions. You guys had some pretty in-depth questions for that one, so good job on the tactical camera team. What do you guys think overall? I think Colonel Sams wants to go test to see if we can drop higher than 12 feet. What do you think? I did catch that one. Well, let's start with you, Mim. What did you think?
I was impressed. I was impressed with his presentation. I was impressed with his compelling story. I think sometimes I lose sight of just how people put their lives on the line, not knowing what situation they're going into. And if we can give them eyes and that peace of mind to have a visual, I think it's great.
Well, I love how Chief tied in the multi-capable airman purpose. So appreciate that, Chief. What do you think?
Well, I think it's pretty awesome. I'm always concerned about sustainment, otherwise things end up under a desk, not cared for, and we wasted our funds. I think potentially that's easier to maintain than a drone. It doesn't fly. So getting the software updates and keeping it up to date seems like it might be a lot simpler than something more complicated.
General.
Yeah, it was a great presentation by Sergeant Song. I could see the utility not only in security, but also rescue operations. Like you said, lowering it down in a manhole, lowering it down into rubble after an earthquake or something. So, great presentation.
Awesome. On to the next. Thanks so much.
All right.
Hi, my name is Master Sergeant Michael Olson from Tyndall Air Force Base, and my innovation idea is Training Titan. How are y'all doing?
Very good.
How are you?
I've got a quick question for you. How many of you log into work every morning, and you open up your email, and you wait for your email to load, take your sip of coffee, check the news for the morning, and you look up and your email box is 0? That never happens, right? Well, now I want you to imagine that you are an NCO at AFIMSC, and you're part of the Mission Readiness Training scheduling team. And you log into work, and you don't get to take a sip of coffee because you have to open your email to this every morning, right? Good afternoon, my name is Master Sergeant Michael Olson from Tyndall Air Force Base. In Houston, we have a problem. The problem is that airmen all throughout the Air Force have to endure the pain and repetitive actions that they have to manually input data into systems. More specifically, at AFPC, these airmen at the Mission Readiness Training Team have to process over 34,000 scheduling requests every year, right? And with those 34,000 requests comes about 300,000 transactions. And that results in delayed responses to our customers. It also, we have to rework a lot of emails because of invalid data that comes in. So we have to resend it to the customer. They have to rework. And most importantly, morale. At AFPC, we have to endure the Groundhog Day effect. And working at AFPC previously, I know the pain and frustrations that come with coming into work every day and having to do the same repetitive job every single day. So how do we get after that problem? Well, let me introduce you to Training Titan. Training Titan is an automated system that is used to handle those mundane processes in the background through automation. So those airmen can refocus their efforts on higher level tasks for the Air Force and better their work centers and the Air Force as a whole. Right? So with that automation, we're now able to reduce response times to less than 24 hours, because I know in this day and age, people, they want their information now, right? They want it now, they don't want to wait 7 to 10 business days. So with automation, we can handle that. It also provides centralized communication, right? So the training Titan will be able to show in real time where your request is at. It won't be just you sitting in email off and having to wait and hopefully you get it in time to run your training, right? And also, it's going to significantly reduce the workload at AFIMSC to about 85%, because all those human inputs will be taken away and the automation will take care of it. So I'm sure you all heard the words automation, AI, machine learning. Those are no longer buzzwords. We need this technology now in our Air Force. Our airmen are struggling out there to get their work done every day when the automation can handle that for them. And like I said, they can focus on those other mission critical tasks instead of sitting behind a computer doing that swivel chair work every day, right? So a couple of examples for myself, building automations. Currently, the automation arm of Training Titan is being utilized at AFIMSC. They use it for the enlisted professional military education scheduling. They've been using it for about 2 years now with great success. It eliminates human error and it keeps it a lot faster to get those airmen scheduled for work. Right? And then also I've entered a couple other RPA challenges, not robotic pilot aircraft, but robotic process automation. Right? And then also I've been a part of helping sunsets and legacy training systems. So what it does, it extracts all the training records before those legacy systems sunset. So they still have the training records input into the new system. So when do we need this technology? We need it now, right? We need to modernize our processes because industry is already doing this. So we need to catch up with industry so we're not left in the dark. We also need to empower our airmen. We need those citizen developers out there to come to us with our problems of how to automate their day-to-day operations. And provide, lastly, is to provide leadership like yourself, an analytic tool to be able to manage their training budgets on a fiscal year basis, right? So this system will be able to show trends and analysis on how much you're utilizing your training seats throughout the year. So here's our team, myself, Master Sergeant Lavalley from AFIMSC. He's the manager of the policy section for MRT. And also one of my iron vendors, Tech Sergeant Darren Curtis from Little Rock Air Force Base. We are all training managers. And then as you can see at the bottom, all of our stakeholders. But I want to point out the one on the bottom left there. That's our most important stakeholder, right? You account for over 45% of our workload at the Mission Readiness Training Team for formal training requests. So let us help you succeed in the mission. So I'm here to ask for something, right? I don't need a lot, just need a little bit. I need a little bit of time and just a little bit of money. I need about 6 months for development to get our product to an MVP status. As stated before, the automation piece is already built and in production. And also need about $300,000 for technical support and licensing. Training Titan is going to remove the task of human input. It is going to replace that with automation. So please join me as we propel this groundbreaking initiative to the Air Force and get rid of emails. And I'm excited to hear your questions. Thank you.
I'll start, because this is a technology that would help in the function I come from, being a former AFPCer myself.
Absolutely.
We've had a lot of trouble onboarding our new databases, et cetera. Think My Email, MyDex, and the like. What's the applicability, or is there none, for this type of system?
I'm so glad you asked that, because we actually do have automations already built that work with these systems. So My Learning, My Training, all that, I've already built automations for these platforms. So they're very user-friendly when it comes to utilizing the automation to build products to better enhance our quality of life throughout the Air Force.
Great, thank you. Thank you, great answer.
Thank you, Sergeant Olson. It's really great. You had mentioned they're already using this for EPME scheduling. How is this bot different? And if it's not, what's preventing you from just rolling MRT training into that bot?
Right, great question, and I'm glad to answer that. So with the EPME scheduling, it's just an Excel platform, so we just consolidate all the data onto an Excel, and it just runs line by line with automation. With Training Titan, it's going to use a hybrid model of automation and a dashboard type web-based platform to be able to request the scheduling request on the website, and then it'll backflow to the automation, and it'll take care of that for us.
Okay, thank you.
So like I said, it streamlines the process, and you're able to see where it's at during the request. Okay.
If you could, we have your business case analysis, but could you break down what the $300,000 would be used for?
So the $300,000 is for one developer from some type of a technical support company to help build automation, so like a coder, right? So they'll help finish out the build of merging the automations together and have it function with Training Titan. And then the rest of it is for an unattended license. There's two different versions of licensing for automations. Attended is when I have to go in and log in and push a button, push play, right? Unattended is it has its own derived credentials, and it's allowed to work in the background. So when I come into work every morning, that part of my job is already complete. The automation takes care of it for me, so I can go focus on other requests that the Air Force has come to me with.
Can you break it down a little more tactically, Sergeant Olson? So exactly what does the automation do?
So the automation, so from the start, a user or customer will come in, log onto the site, type in the request. So I need Airman Smith to go to hazmat training on July 10th.
Okay.
That will workflow into a back-end spreadsheet, and then the automation will come in and pick that up and complete that based on, it'll pick it up every time there's a new transaction in there. So it'll come in, grab it, do the scheduling piece, and then put the output back into that spreadsheet and notify the requester of, thank you for your request, it has been processed, and here is the confirmation for their training line number that they received for training.
Okay.
So that can happen within 24 hours instead of 7 to 10 to 2 weeks, 7 to 10 days to 2 weeks. So it's a very more efficient way to do it. And that way we're not missing out on training for last minute requests, and also it provides airmen that notification earlier than having to wait last second to build their DCS orders and stuff like that. So
Thank you.
Thank you, appreciate it.
No, man. Great job.
Great job, Sergeant Olson. Let's get this going.
Yes, absolutely.
All right, judges, two things stood out to me. Number one, I don't know about you guys, but I sure could use some help bringing that email number down just a little bit. And then number two, not just Michael, but many of the innovators you've seen to date, I love how they're showcasing a desire and a passion to learn outside of the skill set in which the Air Force has trained them, right? So to hear a training manager talk about the technical aspects we just heard him talk about, I absolutely loved the opportunity to get to showcase that. How about you guys, Chief?
Yeah, pretty impressive. Clearly a multi-talented airman. At the same time, applying his passion to something that affects literally hundreds of thousands of people a year, getting in and out of these MRT courses is huge. Yeah. Like you said, IMSC requests alone 40% of the pool. It's a significant churn getting these folks in and out of training. And if we can streamline that through his efforts, what a blessing for the Air Force.
It's really not taking status quo, right? It's improving quality of life and morale. I can just imagine the number of young men and women who are just having to answer and schedule and go find, and I think it's fantastic. I'm excited for what this is going to do for our Air Force.
Getting white space back on the calendars of our airmen.
For sure. Yeah. For sure.
Yeah, great job by Sergeant Olson. Getting an answer within 24 hours is crucial for an airman because he can plan out when he's going to go somewhere and go to training. And I like how he focused on when their email box goes down to zero, they can focus on the things they haven't been doing and get back on track.
I can only dream of zero, right?
Right.
Awesome. Thanks,
Right.
judges. On to the next.
All right.
Hey, I'm Captain Jonathan Soon from Air Force Special Operations Command, Hobart Field, Florida, and our innovation is repower. Hello. How are you?
Good.
I get a call. Get to base right now. It's urgent. It's just my luck. My car breaks down. Within your standard vehicle, there are over 2,000 moving parts that work together to get that thing running. On the opposite spectrum, electric vehicles only take 20. Now imagine you're an airman loading cargo onto a quick-turn aircraft, and that thing needs to go. The last thing this airman needs is a hydraulic leak that will render that forklift unusable. The 10K all-terrain forklift is one of the Air Force's primary workhorses for moving cargo and equipment across an installation or a deployed location. After years of abuse, it's time for this forklift to get a facelift. I'm Captain Jonathan Soon from Air Force Special Operations Command, and I'm here to repower and reimagine our material handling needs. So what is the problem? The problem is that our industry partners are outpacing us. The problem is that the Air Force is still using inefficient hydraulic systems that create risk for our airmen. The problem is a wartime posture that creates a strained supply chain. Our solution is hybridization. By replacing hydraulic systems with electric actuators, we have an opportunity to create an efficient platform, but more importantly, a reliable platform. Our solution also takes into account the 1,000 plus AT forklifts that we already have within our fleet. By retrofitting or modifying these forklifts, we get the equipment that our airmen need when they need them. The demand is there. You could feel the pain at the base level, the enterprise level, higher headquarters, and even the DoD. It's events like the Modernization and Innovation Summit and similar projects like this that make this a very real problem and a real solution. I'd be remiss if I didn't take this time to thank our team. The 1st Special Operations Logistics Readiness Squadron, their vehicle maintainers, and the vehicle operators were crucial. Mr. Lem Alvarez and our cross-functional teams at AFIMSC got us this far, so thank you. And of course, our stakeholders. Without forums like this, innovators like us are unable to get after and address the capability gaps that exist within our force, so thank you. Our ask is for $500,000 across an 8-month period, hitting 3 major milestones, from kickoff to conceptual design. Now I know this project isn't as sexy as some of the other projects you've heard about or will hear about, and that's okay. My intent here is to convey the gravity of this issue. With your support, we can conduct the critical research and development needed to not only help out the Air Force, but any DoD component or platform still using hydraulic systems. With your support, we can reimagine material handling equipment altogether through repower. Thank you for your time. I welcome any questions.
Thank you. Great presentation. Great presentation.
Thank you, Captain Soon. Are these electric actuators being used in the field anywhere in commercial world? And do they have the same capability as a hydraulic system?
From our initial look, some companies are working to retrofit their forklifts, or at least they have a conversion kit. What we don't understand is the tech readiness level of those cylinders or that retrofit system. So we want to work and conduct this research to ensure that our airmen have the material handling equipment that they need that still meets the reliability that the current 10K's been providing for countless years.
Thank you.
Chief, do you have a question?
Yes, ma'am. So, sir, that's awesome presentation. Thank you very much. What was the catalyst for this? How did you come to the conclusion or figure there's a need to increase the reliability of our hydraulic systems? What was it that made you go down this path?
The catalyst started with our operational energy proposal to SAF IEN, but from there, we explored a little bit more within our bases, and we noticed that for one specific 10K all-terrain vehicle that was down for a hydraulic system, it's been 2 months, and there was still no vision in sight of when it'd be back up supporting the mission. So it started there.
Okay, so in thinking about that 10K that was down for 2 months, if we were to convert our over 1,000 10Ks to electric versus hydraulic, where does that fit into LRS's current ability to sustain those assets?
Thank you for that question. So for now, we would still have to first conduct the research needed, right? After that, we would provide the expertise, whether it's through industry or through academia, to train up our airmen, which is required. Since they've been working on hydraulic systems for so many years, this is a new skill set that we're providing them.
Thank you, sir.
Have you thought, I'm sure you have, what's your take on the ability to regenerate the power in a hybrid or the electric? I'm thinking austere environments, plugging it in. What are you thinking that might be?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for your question. While there are opportunities to plug this forklift, this retrofitted forklift in these austere locations, our intent is through our studies to create a system that would essentially power itself, powering the battery whenever it's moving, ensuring that there is less reliance on actually needing to be plugged into an outlet.
Sure, that makes sense. That makes sense. Thank you. Any other questions, gentlemen?
No, good, thank you.
No, ma'am.
Great job.
All right,
All
thank you
right,
for your
thanks,
time.
Captain. Great job.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Awesome. Would love to hear what you guys thought of Captain and Repower. Chief, go ahead.
Pretty interesting concept. I think there's quite a few challenges to work through, so I appreciate how they've lined it out in a project.
Yes.
And they need to be logical in their approach to make sure it's going to work as they move through their iterations. But I'd be curious to see what commercial off-the-shelf products there are, because certainly they can't be the first people to have thought of this. But at the same time, applying it to over 1,000 forklifts is a daunting task.
Yeah, sorry, Chief.
Oh, they got a big task in front of them.
I specifically like that point about from the captain about us being behind industry and what can we learn from industry. So I agree with you.
Yes, ma'am.
Awesome. Sams.
Yeah, Captain Sue, the last question I had about how to generate power made me think of my own hybrid vehicle that I drive, and that when I brake and slow down, it regenerates its power to the hybrid battery. So I think getting caught up to industry and seeing what is going on out there really has some applicability, not maybe just for a forklift, but beyond.
Yes.
Beyond our other vehicles that are important to what we do.
I agree. Jen.
Yeah, a very cool and ambitious idea, and that it'll eliminate all the hydraulic lines on the vehicle and the airmen from having to get in contact with hydraulic fluid, which is a great idea.
Awesome. Great. Thanks so much. On to the next.
Lieutenant Colonel Blair Bachman from Danley Field, Project Hawkeye, or the Hawk Wolverine Crate Initiative. Do any of you like to lose? I don't. I work really hard to win. And so do our airmen. So why would we send them out the door already at a disadvantage? Wouldn't you want to equip them with modern technology that is a force multiplier versus an antiquated single source solution? Our adversaries are increasing their capabilities rapidly, and General Brown's action order to accelerate, change, or lose is a wake-up call. We need to get modern technology out to our airmen immediately. Project Hawkeyes offers up a new capability to shrink our logistical footprint for help our airmen. I am Lieutenant Colonel Bachman, and I'd like to introduce you to the Hawk Wolverine Crate Initiative, also known as Hawkeye. Hawkeye aims to reduce the logistical footprint by reducing the overall number of personnel and equipment needed in the field. It takes modular commercial solutions and speeds up the acquisition process. It takes interoperable equipment, and it allows us to field multi-capable equipment meant for multi-capable airmen. Project Hawkeye is 3 capabilities wrapped up into a package deal. On the left, you see Hawk. Hawk was designed, his heavy utility lifting kit was designed by Auburn University mechanical engineering students. It is designed to load and unload palletized cargo from aircraft. Hawk takes up 1 pallet position. Wolverine in the middle is a multi-purpose expeditionary platform. It is meant to load and unload cargo, move aircraft, move cargo, load weapons, pump fuel, generate electricity, generate air, along with these other capabilities you see listed. Wolverine takes up 1 pallet position. Crate is an operational hub of integrated, interoperable, modular capabilities. The expandable shelter contains a hybrid power solution, redundant front haul and back haul communications, as well as compute and store capabilities. For our defenders, it offers up a multi-function, small, unmanned aerial system, unattended ground sensors, as well as an artificial intelligence enabled surveillance system. It also provides a self-sustaining atmospheric and reverse osmosis water generation capability. Crate takes up one pallet position. Project Hawkeye is needed by airmen that are executing agile combat employment and domestic operations. Project Hawk is scheduled to be used in a green flag exercise later this fall. Wolverine engineering efforts are ongoing, and we are ready to execute immediately when funded. Crate hardware and software integrations will be complete in September. All of the requirements for Hawkeye were generated from those 5 exercises you see in the bottom left, as well as all of the lesson learned and feedback from those units you see in the middle. Project Hawkeye is also gaining extra traction with like AFIMSC's initiative for all network domain and the Operational Energy Initiative, as well as the Nuclear Survivability Initiative. Our team is comprised of those 3 members up top. Our primary stakeholders are listed in the middle, with our primary funding stream so far is Air University. All of those entities you see below all have expressed interest in the operational capability of Project Hawkeye. The package deal of Project Hawkeye takes the equipment that you see on the left side of the screen, shrinks that footprint down, and decreases our logistical footprint. We reduce the cost to ship, the amount of weight the cargo takes, the number of pallet positions required, as well as the cost for gear and training, and we reduce that by 70%. We are asking for $898,000 to bolster the initial operating capabilities for Project Hawkeye. That will get you a 54% return on investment with a 2-year payback period. We are looking for senior leader support to advocate for airworthiness, authorities to operate, as well as transition it to a program of record. We are also asking for access to a rapid acquisition strategy so that we can get commercial capabilities to our airmen today. Project Hawkeye, if we truly want to empower our airmen to be multi-capable, then we owe it to them to get multi-capable equipment. Project Hawkeye is the acceleration needed to drive change so that we can maintain the competitive edge and win. Thank you for the opportunity today, and I look forward to your questions.
Great job. Great job, boy.
Yeah, great job. And I think this falls right in line with General Brown's agile combat deployment. So Lieutenant Colonel Ballman, you're a fighter pilot. So instead of thinking about employing your weapon system, I appreciate you looking at the mobility side and the logistics side, but why you? Why are you bringing this forward?
So when General Brown sounded as Accelerate, Change, or Lose, I was in a unique position to be the Chief of Exercises and Plans at the 187th Fighter Wing. The wing commander challenged me and said, how do you take an organization that has been doing the same thing the same way for years, and how do you transition them into a new way to fight? I took that initiative, I listened to my airmen, and we built Tiger teams and figured out what are some of the constraints that we had. These lessons learned and these things were all came and derived from what I hear from my airmen. So I was the one that was leading the way to try to help them out so that they don't have to work through that.
Thank you.
How did you get all of the facets connected together?
So it all started, that's a great question. It all started with Hawk, and I was asking about how can we get something out, and I thought about the Auburn Engineering that was right up the street from Montgomery. So I said, hey, can you guys work on this for me? And they said, absolutely, we'll try to solve that problem. So that's how it started. We also then looked at the communications part, which was the biggest problem, because they originally said combat comm is going to be needed. Combat comm might not be there. So what do? Is we need to bring our own indigenous capabilities with us. So therefore, I'm not reliant on other organizations that may never show up to the place I'm supposed to go. So that was the crate part of it. Wolverine actually just stumbled upon us through the Innovation Network and said, hey, there's a guy locally that makes these things. Maybe you can see if we can adapt those capabilities. And then it just kind of hit the road from there.
Whose idea was it to put it all together?
So my team, we talked about it, and based on some of the contracting challenges we've already had through Project Crate, the thought was instead of having our airmen go through a bunch of different contracts to get all this piece of equipment, I was going to go through some of the painful process to make this in an integrated deal. So it's one contract that gets them multiple capabilities for our multi-cable airmen.
Thank you. Thanks.
A+ job, sir. That was outstanding. You talked about rapid acquisition and at the same time contracting. Does all this stuff require sole sources and sole source justifications?
So the goal that we're going to do is work to get this all put into a package deal, either through a NASA SOUP or some other agile contracting means, so that a unit, if you need the capability, they can go in and since it's modular, you can put a drop-down menu of, I don't want that radio, I want this radio, or I don't want that capability, I'd rather have this capability. So it should be selectable for them, and then once they get it, think of it as a agile container of justice with the support equipment required that just shows up at your base and you're ready to roll.
And what was the most complicated part of the contracting aspect you've executed so far?
That's awesome. There's been lots of challenges. I would say the most was understanding what a statement of work is versus the statement of objectives. We submitted a statement of objectives initially, and the first contractor that we had, the prime, was going to solve my problem. The problem I had was not how do I get all this stuff together. The problem I had was how do I get this stuff bought and integrated quickly. So what we realized, we should have executed or submitted a statement of work with the specific things we were looking to accomplish. That would have saved us a couple months on this project.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Awesome.
I have a question specific to Wolverine. I appreciate that you brought all those different things together. Like you said, it reduces pallets. But what do you say to people that say you now created a single point of failure?
So the cost of Wolverine, for one 10K all-terrain forklift, you could probably buy 3 Wolverines. So the plan would be, and it's all of the equipment in Wolverine is stuff you can go get at Tractor Supply or pull from other resources. It's not a specialized stovepipe military equipment device. So theoretically, if you're in the field and something breaks, you can go snag a hydraulic line from something else. The tracks you can bring are roughly about $425, and they're like a standard track for a Bobcat or some other of those smaller pieces of equipment.
Thank you.
So piling on the question from General French, for maintenance units, or you're just talking about the pieces and parts, and have you thought about that? Or maybe that's down the road of do you have a maintenance container that goes with it, or spare parts?
Yes, ma'am, absolutely. So the interesting part is because these haven't all been put together and showed up at a base yet, our initial thought is this is a team effort. So when we get it on base, it's going to have to be a combination of comm and CE and aerospace ground equipment, as well as contracting, all put together to try to work through some of this. And then once we get our hands on and get use out of it, then we'll probably have a better way forward with who's going to maintain this part, and that part. So we're looking forward to getting them all together so we can finally make that decision.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well done.
Thanks for your
so
time.
much.
Judges, did I hear him say container of justice?
Yes, you did.
Pulling the theme all the way through. Absolutely love the marketing going on. And I also love the fact that it's total force, right? The fact we had a guardsman up there doing this work. I love the thread you're pulling, you're a fighter pilot. What are you necessarily doing working in this space? So really an interesting idea and fabulously presented. But love to hear your thoughts. Chief?
I think a lot of the stuff, just based off the pictures, what we're able to see, it looks pretty intuitive, which would be super great. If it's intuitive, I got to believe it's safe. And at the same time, it'll streamline training our airmen, all different kinds of airmen, to use those resources. So super well done.
I feel like it's that multi-capable airman manifested into equipment. It's just in a container, you drop it and we go. It's very impressive, and I'm also very impressive of all the ideas brought in together to create a containerized unit or a container of justice.
Swiss Army knife, right?
Mm-hmm. For sure.
General.
Yeah, he was very passionate. I like how he brought all the functionals together to get their buy-in, to get this thing the way it is. And like I said, it falls right in the definition of ACE. So,
I was expecting a few more contract probing questions, but...
I was impressed with the Chief. Thank you, Chief.
Awesome. Over to you to score some more.
All right, thanks.
My name is Vince Sheffy.
I'm Tech Sergeant Greffel.
I'm based out of Kirtland Air Force Base in New Mexico.
I'm based out of Cheyenne Mountain Space Force Station, Colorado.
And our innovation is Base Buddy. Good afternoon. Do you remember a
my
time when there was
laptop.
one single source of information
know where it
for
is.
all your base services? Personally, I don't remember that time. However, I have heard about the legend of the base operator. Apparently, there was a time when you could make one single phone call and you would receive information about all of your base services. However, the base operator has come and gone. Today, we search the internet endlessly, looking for information essential to the lives of our warfighters. Bringing back the base operator is not feasible or scalable. So what is the solution? My name is Vince Sheffy. I'm an AFIMSC computer scientist.
My name is Tech Sergeant Greffel. I'm a space operator at U.S. Space Command. And this is Base Buddy.
What is Base Buddy? Base Buddy, our team created Base Buddy by utilizing the best-in-class, industry-proven models to generate an AI chatbot. Our AI chatbot returns relevant and curated information to your warfighters. This boosts morale and increases efficiency by returning information seamlessly.
The internet is rapidly expanding. It is uncontrolled and full of inaccuracies. In this example, we had a gate closure on one of our bases for 3 months. We decided to test a theory. How many websites would be accurate with this information? So we pulled 4 websites. The base website, the Force Support Squadron website, and 2 Google searches. How many do you think were accurate?
3.
Sir, I love your optimism. It was 1. The FSS website was the only accurate one. So we have a choice to make. Do we leave this in the hands of the public domain, or do we take control of our data and change the status quo to ensure that our people get reliable, accurate data for them and their families?
Base Buddy is changing the status quo. Base Buddy is not another search engine. Instead, we are an AI chatbot. Your Airman and Guardian will have a conversation with Base Buddy, returning relevant, curated information about the base services at your organization. However, we do know that your base organization does not always have their websites up to date. So Base Buddy does include an internal feedback loop. Your Airman and Guardian will be able to flag inaccurate information, notifying both the information owners and Base Buddy to learn that this information is inaccurate and should not be returned again. Base Buddy is not just a standalone application. It will integrate seamlessly into your base's websites.
So how do we know this is needed? We know because we've lived this, and we've asked the question. In a survey where we asked active duty, Guard, reserves, civilian contractors, dependents, veterans, we asked how many of them looked for this information, and 93% said they are looking for base information just like this. And over 50% of them have been using social media and search engines that we don't control the data. So how do we control that? With Base Buddy, over 90% are willing and ready to try a new system, and Base Buddy could be that system.
We understand that AI is new, fairly new, and complex. However, we have assembled a team of subject matter experts across the Department of Air Force from a variety of innovative organizations, including a PhD advisor from the Chief Data and Artificial Intelligence Office. We understand that our main stakeholder is you, both as an organization and as users of Base Buddy.
The proof of concept is done, and the team is ready to take Base Buddy to the next level. So with your help and an investment of $750,000, we are ready to develop and deploy Base Buddy at Joint Base San Antonio and Peterson Space Force Base to do an initial test to prove how our airmen and guardians and their families can use this system, and then eventually roll out to the Department of the Air Force and beyond.
We lost personal customer service when we lost our base operators.
So together, we can bring the base operator back to the 21st century in this new digital form. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Base operator. Wow, I feel old because I think there were base operators when we entered the service.
I had some too. I'm older as well.
I have to say. But I love the way you started it, because as soon as you said base operator, I'm like, single point. We knew we could call, get a phone number, get a whatever. So I thought that was great. I'm excited to hear JBSA too as a test case. Personally, I don't have a question. I'll think of a question. Chief, sir, question.
I like what you said about the feedback loop. So users see bad data out there. Your example the data is only as good as the human that puts it in, right? So that won't correct that. Just if someone gives you feedback that the data is out of date. Is that correct? Is that what I'm hearing?
So it will notify the information owner of that data, hopefully, and it will also notify Base Buddy to not return that data if it's flagged a certain amount of times to not return that data back to the user.
So ultimately, it allows, if they don't have the data, it's not going to give you, if it knows it's bad, it's not going to re-release it. So we'll say, like, I either don't have this information or it just won't release it. And then there may be potential in the future for a wing commander to know what questions are regularly being asked or things like that, where we have that feedback move through senior leaders.
So last night I actually went over all of these with my wife on the phone, and she did have a question about this. You used to get, when you went to a base, spouses club or spouses network would give you a book that had things like local child care, local automotive. Well, that, are you looking at something like that for this?
Yes, sir. So we are trying to scrape any data source that your base organization will give us. So any PAI available data sources will scrape and it will feed into our Base Buddy.
Chief, I'm going to come to you next, but I just had a question when you said that, sir. Is there a way to push information through it instead of a user requesting information? Say there's an emergency on the installation that leadership wants to communicate out, or is that beyond the scope of what you're thinking about today? And it's okay if you are. Just wanted to ask the question.
Thank you for the question. I don't know that we're at the level to do that just yet.
Not an initial proof of concept. However,
Okay.
it is integrated to your base website as well as a standalone application. So in theory, if somebody has it on their phone and they have their notifications on, you could push that alert.
But second to that, so we don't want to replace like USAF Connect. We want to adapt to that. So if USA Connect is already doing that, if Ad Hoc is already doing those things, we want to help support those tools that already exist, not replace the tools that exist.
Great point. Great point. Thank you. Chief.
Yeah, I have the privilege of going TDY quite a bit, and this is something that would definitely be useful as we go to bases that maybe we've never been to before, or just to get up to date on that base. But how well, or is it possible, do you see this function fitting inside the Air Force's Connect app?
So I'll take that one, Chief. So yeah, so just like I just explained, our hope is that the bases push the data. So if the base decides it wants a base map, if it wants to have phone numbers, a directory, the base decides to have that and it's plugged into Air Force Connect, Base Buddy would be a part of Air Force Connect. So you just go on Air Force Connect, hopefully in the future be able to press a little mic button, just like you do on your current AI assistants. Press the mic button, I'm looking for this base, I'm looking for this location, and it would be able to provide it to you.
And then have you engaged with Air Force Public Affairs?
So we actually love that we did this rodeo. We've had a chance to meet with people that control public affairs at the installation level, as well as the service side with the Mission Support Center, and we are going to continue after this to continue along with them to try to push this further along.
Well done, thank you.
Great. No, I think this is a great idea. I love that you used their survey and you got what was on people's minds and what their desires are. If we could just integrate it with a map function, so when I'm TDY at BaseX, it doesn't take me to a map that's closed inevitably and you just don't know where to go.
We got some good feedback. We got some good feedback. I have a friend that's command post, and she's like, please quit calling the command post for gym numbers.
No.
So there is organizations that they are currently in PA the same way, where they are what now is the base operator.
Yes. Yeah. Well, any questions?
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, gentlemen. Great idea. Great pitch.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, judges, Base Buddy. I love that it was a team approach, right? The only team that we have in this year's rodeo. What a great opportunity to hear from a guardian and a civilian. So I'd love to hear your thoughts. Chief?
Yeah, I'd love for this to come to fruition and be 100% reliable. I think we all would.
Yes.
It would solve a lot of problems, especially as us as senior leaders bounce all over the place, streamline getting stuff done, and at the same time help families going into bases. I mean, it could really be fantastic.
I just recently PCS'd and 2 of the 3 gates are regularly closed, so I feel your pain. So yeah, go ahead.
Thank you.
Carol Sands.
Just hitting on the Chief's point, they're family members, right? I'm a new spouse, or I'm a teenage child who's trying to figure out and navigate a new installation as we move around. I think it's great. I think it's overdue. I would really love to have access to something like this. When he said JBSA, I was very excited.
Yeah, it's great. A one-stop shop for all the information today. You go on your social media of choice and type in, move it into space, where do I find this? And you just wait for a reply rather than going out and find it yourself. So great idea.
Thanks for your thoughts. Back over to you.
Hi, my name is Tech Sergeant Joshua Solomon, and I'm stationed at JBSA Lackland Kelly Field at the Air Force Services Center. My innovation is known as the Automatic Robotic Dish Room, also known as the ARDR. How's everyone doing today?
Great, how are you?
All right, appreciate you for asking. Now, I'd like to take a couple minutes and ask you all a couple quick questions. First off, how many of us like to eat?
Yes.
All right, now, I'll ask you a follow-up question. How many of us like to do the dishes? Oh, not a strong response, huh? Now, can you imagine showing up for work, having to wash over 10,000 dishes in a humid 100-degree room for 8 hours a day? Neither can I. Well, with the Automatic Robotic Dish Room, also known by his name as ARDR, we're here to change that. He washes, dries, sorts, stacks, and returns clean dishware back to the floor for operational use. Now, you're probably asking, why do I need the ARDR? Well, right now there's a labor shortage industry-wide, and the Air Force itself, it is not immune to that. With ARDR, he doesn't need to commute, he never calls in sick, he doesn't need a security clearance. He can start the same day and provide same-day service. Now, you probably see me roll in with this cart, and you see this crazy sign here saying, hey, $25 an hour. The Air Force is paying $25 an hour per contract employee that's hired. A BMT dish room on JBSA Lackland requires 18 personnel. So as you can imagine, those costs start to add up. Well, with ARDR there in your dish rooms, he's able to cut that by 2/3. So now instead of 18 people, we're looking at 6. Now, health, safety, and wellness. It's huge, it's important. With workers' comp and injury payouts, right now at JBSA Lackland in their BMT rooms, we're looking at 164 injuries at a $500,000 payout. It's exuberant. Those dish rooms are dangerous. And there's one more thing I want to point out. A story, we had an airman join our Air Force a couple years ago, doing duty in one of these dish rooms. She ended up almost losing her hand. With the ARDR, those type of injuries are a thing of the past, and also the frequency of people coming into those dish rooms being hurt while performing their duties will be reduced. Now, pretty sure we're asking, hey, what's happening with this in industry? Our partners in industry are already testing this concept. Hobart is one of those partners that have proven this concept, testing it, and it's being implemented in cafeterias and hospitals in Europe. For scalability-wise, once this proof of concept is proven to work in our Air Force BMT dining facilities, it's scaled to become an Air Force initiative, and from there, a DoD program. Our team members, they've been the backbone helping us get through this and making ARDR go from a thought to a budding reality. For our stakeholders, our biggest stakeholder is you, the Air Force Installation Mission Support Center. Without you, none of these other stakeholders listed on here, from BMT to the 37 Training Group, they can't benefit from ARDR's help without your help. So we need you. So what I'm asking for today is an investment of $1.2 million. With ARDR, that return on investment is recuperated in the second year. And by year 5, we're looking at now a surplus of $2.8 million. It also comes with a 10-year warranty, initial facility setup, and a host of other features. And so with that, there's something I want to leave you with. As the leaders of innovation, let's keep our airmen out the dish room and let ARDR clean for you. Thank you for your time, and I am available for any questions you may have.
Thanks, Sergeant Solomon. Awesome. That's awesome. Great pitch and presentation. And so I assume that's the ARDR right there in that visual depiction.
One on the left, yes, ma'am. That's what it's going to look like, and that's him scalable to a room specific for him. The one on the right, it's heavy duty.
Gotcha.
What is the speed comparison? How many people are in a defect on Lackland at this sort of place?
Can you repeat that for me, sir? I couldn't hear you.
How many people currently work in the dishwashing room at Lackland at this sort of place?
So in a JBSA BMT dish room, there's BMT dish room, there's 2 dish rooms, so there's 18 per, so there's 36 dishwashers total.
And would this operate as fast as that many?
This will operate way faster. So one dishwasher is able to wash 50 plates per hour. With ARDR, he's able to do 900 at a minimum to 1,800 tray sets per hour.
How is that possible? Is it the larger machine and feeding them through the machine?
Yes,
so
ma'am.
Can you help us understand that tactic?
It's the sorting of it. One of the biggest slowdowns in manual hand dishwashing is once you receive your tray, like your user experience. I hand my tray to the server,
Right.
he takes it back. You have to separate all your utensils, forks, spoons, and knives. With order setup, he has a sensor that's going to identify each piece and separate as it goes along his assembly line through the trough and out through the back of him, ready to be sorted and stacked and returned to the floor.
Okay. I would assume no sanitization concerns.
No, ma'am. We have an exclusive partnership with Ecolab already in our dining facilities, and order is seamless with that integration.
Okay. All right.
So not every airman cleans their plates. So these trays are going back with food on them, cups with stuff still inside. How does that work?
So with order setup, he has a claw that will come down to scrape off any excess food left on into the garbage disposals, as well as to empty out any contents in our cups, because unfortunately that's how our young airmen ended up getting hurt in that dish room during that process, and her hand ended up getting caught in the trash compactor as it went on.
Gotcha. Chief, any questions?
Yeah, I appreciate your briefing. It was outstanding, and your composure is first class. This thing sounds like a dream come true. So I got to ask about the sustainment piece. So if these were installed in our dining facilities, who would own that piece of equipment, and who would be responsible for sustaining that piece of equipment?
So we would own the equipment as we do with any installation of service equipment, but he would have a warranty that would come with a 10-year life cycle. So our partners would come out as part of that warranty and do any type of maintenance or service that order needs. And he has a 15 to 20-year life cycle. And with those cost savings we've already recovered in year 2, he's paying for himself after that second year.
Excellent, thank you.
And if it were to go down or need maintenance, can you work around?
Yes, ma'am. So he would give off an alert or a sensor similar to a Roomba, letting you know, hey, Roomba needs assistance. And as our default backup, we would go to paper products while the maintenance team responds and gets them back up and running within 72 hours. A big difference from, hey, when one of these goes down from employee shortages or heat closure, they're down. Dish rooms are closed for weeks or months, and those expendables cost adds up.
Okay.
Is there multiple vendors that provide that asset?
Right now, Hobart is the one that is leading in industry for the Hobart in the U.S.
And can you share again who is using this technology today?
It is Hobart, and he's doing, right now, their main test bed for it is over in Europe, specifically in Germany, where it's in the hospitals and cafeterias, because they have a focus on sanitation, which is huge, and a lot of times there's all these high volume of places, especially in the hospital, you need something to be able to keep up with that demand.
Very good.
So you said it's a 10-year warranty, but what is the advertised lifespan?
Advertised lifespan, sir, is 15 to 20 years. And he said, as I may have alluded to earlier, that he does have after that second year, you've already recouped your initial return on investment from him, so he's paying for himself.
Okay.
Awesome. Great job.
Well, thank you for your time. I appreciate you for this
Great
opportunity.
job hanging in there with the sound distraction. You did awesome.
It's perfect.
Smooth as silk. Great
Thank
job,
you.
Sergeant Salomon. Thank you.
Judges, I don't know about you, but when I saw the picture of the amount of dishes, can you imagine that being your job when knowing there's an opportunity to automate? I don't know. Great presentation. Chief, what'd you think?
It was absolutely A+ presentation, and the fact that it comes from an industry leader like Hobart, which manufactures most of the equipment in our dining facilities anyway, gives great faith that it'll actually meet its lifespan. So pretty interesting for sure.
Thanks, Chief. Chris Sams.
Yeah, I have personally worked a shift in the DFAC, and I know there are a lot of tough tasks that our people, contractor or uniformed alike, need to do, and I'm excited about the output of this potential was pretty remarkable.
What a
Very
great use
impressive.
case at the training wing, right?
Yes, yes, for sure.
General.
Yeah, Sergeant Solomon knows his stuff, and I think the speed, the sanitation, and you eliminate the safety concerns. I think it's a great product.
Awesome. Thanks so much, judges.
All right, thank you. Well, gentlemen, I don't know about you, but those were 8 really good ideas and pitches that the teams worked really hard. So now we got to go do our hard work.
Yes, ma'am.
Let's go figure it out.
All right.
All right.
I think my innovation went great. My pitch went great. I answered all the questions. I hope they understood them and got the point of why I wanted to do this. As far as the Innovation Rodeo as a whole, it's a great opportunity to showcase what we've built
and how we can execute and help airmen out in the field get after those, processing those mundane tasks with innovation and automation.
I think the presentation went pretty good. I was a little nervous about the pitch, but we've been getting some good training all week, and I think it actually paid off today.
I think the pitch went really well. I was nervous, of course, but I'm just grateful to the team at AFIMSC and the team that they hired, Mobilized, that got us prepped and ready for this.
I think it went well. I think we got our ideas out to the senior leaders, and they got to see the possible effects of deploying this out to the deaf enterprise.
Yeah, I agree. There seemed to be a lot of good feedback from the judges, so excited to see how it goes.
Thanks everybody for joining us, and a special thanks to those who made this all possible. First, the team at AFIMSC that includes our primary subordinate units and all fellow augmentees. Also to the 3rd Audiovisual Squadron, so this great setup and able to broadcast this to you across the enterprise. Thanks to our awesome judges. And last but not least, thanks so much to airmen and guardians who spent the time to put together their ideas, not just these 8 finalists. There were many more who joined us in the campaign. It was very difficult down select to these 8 finalists. And then also, adding on to that, all the time and effort that the airmen and guardians and civilians brought to the table this week, the amount of energy and effort that you all put into bringing us those fabulous presentations. Thanks so much for your passion and energy trying to make our Air Force better. So now here we are. Let's announce the top 3 finalists. Before I get to the drum roll, though, I want to share with you what those top 3 finalists will get out of all of this time and effort that they spent putting into this project. The top 3 finalists will get a share of up to $1 million as they work with AFIMSC to refine their requirements to move their projects forward. What all finalists will get is an opportunity to work on acquisition pathways, an opportunity to work with program managers to continue to work and refine those requirements, and then access to our very vast innovation network and get you connections that help you, again, continue to move your project forward. So thanks for all of your hard work. All right, the moment we've all been waiting for. I am proud to announce that the team in the 3rd place for the 2023 AFIMSC Innovation Rodeo is Mission Readiness Training Scheduler.
Thank you. All right. Congratulations, heavy.
It is heavy.
All right.
That's what he hands to.
That's okay. Congratulations. Congratulations.
Thank you. Attaboy.
Thank you. All right, in place number 2, automated robotic dish room.
Appreciate you, man. Congratulations so much. Congrats. Awesome. Don't drop it. Woohoo!
Well done, man. Crushed it.
Congratulations. All right. In first place for the 2023 AFIMSC Innovation Rodeo, I'd like to announce Hawkeye.
Congratulations. Thank you. You're very welcome. Awesome. Thanks so much. You're welcome.
Congratulations. Well done, sir. Well done.
Congratulations. Thank you. Yep. And to wrap it up, I'd like to turn the floor over to Colonel Sams.
Thanks, JD. And thanks again to all the support teams, to our innovators here and those out across the Department of the Air Force. Keep the ideas coming. I want to talk to the 8 teams. We need your ideas in our greater Air Force. So please keep going with the support you're going to receive from our AFIMSC team. Keep going, because every single one of you brought forward an idea that we need tomorrow. Some of them we needed yesterday, so please keep going. So thank you. Thank you to my fellow judges. Thank you to everybody that helped put this together. Thanks for a great
another AFIMSC Innovation Rodeo 2023. With that, congratulations.